Hi everyone, it's Penny Black and Jill Foster here for another PB&J card class. And in today's video, I am going to be doing some colored pencil coloring onto gray toned paper featuring supplies from Penny Black and Arteza. And before we begin, I just wanted to mention that I will have a full supply list at the very end of the video up on screen. So if you want to check that out in more detail, just hit pause at that time. And also, the kind folks at Arteza have offered all of you Penny Black fans a discount code, and I will put that down in the YouTube description box below, along with links to all of the Arteza and Penny Black products I'm using. So this is the Arteza Toned Gray paper pad, and this paper is fantastic for this technique, and I'm going to be stamping it using Penny Black's Snowy Flight Cling Stamp. This is one of our new stamps from the Merry and Joy collection. So I've got my gray toned paper in my Misty stamp positioning tool, and I am inking my stamp using Shadow Gray ink. This is a Ranger archival ink. And you definitely could just stamp this with a regular acrylic block, but I like to do a couple impressions just to darken things up. Now, before I begin my colored pencil coloring, I am using an Arteza Twi marker with a very fine tip just to color the eye and a little bit of the beak and also the feet of the bird. The very fine tips on these markers are so awesome for this. I find that they're a little bit easier to control than the colored pencils, so I use them, like I said and showed you there, on the bird, and then I'm also going to color all of the branches with the very fine tip of the brown marker. And the exact colors will be listed in that supply list at the very end of the video. So to do all of my coloring, I am using the Arteza colored pencils. This is a set of 72, just giving you a quick look here at all of the beautiful colors that you get in this set, and they work wonderfully with that gray toned paper. So to begin, I'm going to work on the bird. This image is actually super easy to color. So I'm just starting here up at the top and adding a little bit of my darker color. I'm using a medium pressure, and as I add more layers, I will increase my pressure because I like the look to be fairly smooth. But if you start with too hard of a pressure from the beginning, it's difficult to blend. So I saved my hardest pressure for the very end when I am coloring. I'm sort of overlapping the lighter colors onto the darker colors, and that helps kind of make that transition from dark to light. And I'm going to move down here onto this this area of the bird, starting with just a little touch of this darker color, coming in then with the red. You can see I'm not stopping and starting that all at the exact same place. That makes it easier to blend, and it doesn't look so much like stripes on the bird, but has a little bit more of a natural feel. I'm adding just the tiniest touch of yellow in here on that red. That just gives it kind of an orangey look as opposed to a pink look. And just working my way up with those lighter colors as I go. And then I can go back over now. Here's where I'm using just a little bit heavier pressure to finish off the blending and give it a really smooth look. There's no need to use any type of Gamsol or mineral spirits to blend with these. I find just a little bit harder pressure at the very end gives a very smooth look. Now this bird is not very large and the berries are not very big, so this is actually a very easy image to color, and you don't get any sort of hand fatigue that you can sometimes get with colored pencils. Now what I love is when I go in with the white like I've done here, using this gray toned paper, it just pops, which is so wonderful for holiday and winter cards, for birds such as this where you can add the white and it just looks beautiful. Now here I'm taking that white and I'm just going to go along all of those branches and add sort of a layer of frost or snow, and again that's just totally going to pop. And then finally, the last part to do is just to color the berries. And instead of doing any type of fancy shading on these, I'm just using a variety of different colors. And that gives enough interest to the design without having to do individual shading on each berry. And then I'll add a touch of yellow here on the areas that are indicated as leaves. And I just continue to do that. And to finish off this card, I added a die cut sentiment. And that sentiment is from Penny Black's To the World, so Joy to the World sentiment. And I just cut that from white cardstock and adhered it down at the bottom of the card. This is a standard A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I splattered some white gouache paint onto the background to give the look of some falling snow as well. I thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also connect with Penny Black on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as our website and blog. And here is that list of supplies as promised.